There's a touch of magic in climate innovation that can transform the human condition. Climate technology is more than just a tool to cut carbon. It's an opportunity to create jobs, restore ecosystems, and build healthy, resilient communities if we design it with people in mind. Right now, this technology is improving daily lives around the world. From Pakistan to Puerto Rico, communities are switching to solar to meet their daily energy needs. At 340 Dixwell Avenue, a beautiful, affordable, and healthy place to live has gone up with mass timber. Across our coasts, coastal ocean farmers are growing food without fertilizer and training thousands of people for jobs with careers with purpose. Up I-91, the Connecticut Green Bank is cleaning our air, reducing noise pollution by transitioning diesel school buses to electric. Now, these are not glossy PowerPoint statements or ethereal things. These are real, local, tangible solutions that are happening today. And they are driven by a network of skilled and talented individuals who are rooted in place, whose business models are grounded in vital human needs, and who use small, modular, adaptable technology that fits the way humans learn and build. So I'm going to highlight a few of these people today for you, but I ask that you see their work through a different lens. And that lens is one of a smiling human face on environmental innovation that is elevating human needs. So when you hear climate tech and innovation today, just put aside thoughts of invisible gases that are warming the planet. And if you're thinking about small numbers with very dire consequences, 1.5 to 3 degrees Celsius, put those to the side. And if you're trying to understand centigrade and you are an adult human being born in the United States, just stop because it is virtually incomprehensible to us. So what I ask you to do is to find a new climate story, and one where solar panels or electric vehicles or net zero buildings or regenerative farming has a deeper meaning. We need human bumper stickers of ingenuity solving human needs that are supported by PhD theses and planetary challenges. All right, so taking a step back, any reasonable person, I think, would ask right now, why just focus on the progress and the possibilities here and not the challenges and the science? And the reason is twofold. First, the science of climate communication. The Yale program on climate change communication is a world-class resource on opinions and attitudes about how to communicate on the topic. And what they point out is that a strategy in this space hinges on our ability to connect it to local issues. The cost of insurance, the daily cost of living, home ownership, job creation. Second, we underestimate our abilities all the time to build, scale, and grow technology. When we get curious, engaged, we can do remarkable things in short time periods. And there is no greater example of this than solar energy. All right, so I want everybody to step into the way, way back machine with me. We're going to go to 1954, before global warming was a big topic. And we're going to go to Bell Labs, an epicenter of ingenuity in the United States, where the best global minds convene to ask really big questions. And a few of those folks asked a really profound question, which is, what if we could harness the power of the sun and put it into the hands of everyday people? And from that question, a plucky piece of technology with the ability to democratize and decentralize power in the world was born, the solar panel. And the promise of this is enormous. As enough energy from the sun hits the earth every 5 days, the equivalent of all the fossil fuel reserves we have combined. 80% of the world lives in sunny areas. So for about 60 years, this technology grew, developed, trundled along through being tested in harsh environments with policy support, getting more efficient, building up manufacturing capacity, and then all of a sudden, solar exploded. It went from a rounding error in global energy production to over 10% of the electricity produced in the world. It became the fastest growing energy technology in human history. It is now cheaper, faster, and better than the fossil fuel alternative. But what does better actually look like at a local level? Well, everybody get in a plane with me and we're going to go to Pakistan. okay? And in Pakistan, last decade, it went from negligible solar energy to 20%. And this wasn't driven by top-down government policy or international climate finance. It was driven by the sheer necessity for affordable energy, market forces, and most importantly, a skilled and talented group of people who knew how to get it done. So what happened? Energy prices spiked in Pakistan, solar energy price panels dropped precipitously, and in stepped a skilled and talented local group of people, self-taught solar entrepreneurs. They built hyper-local supply chains. They taught each other on TikTok, WhatsApp, and YouTube. They built a national workforce in less than a decade. And who were the early adopters? Schools, hospitals, farmers, people who were looking for abundant, affordable energy. By the end of this year, it's estimated that half of Pakistani farmers will have gone from expensive imported diesel fuel to water their plants to solar pumps. And just think about the equity and access issues that are going on here. You have people previously excluded from systems that now have abundant energy. You have farmers no longer dependent on expensive imported diesel for their crops. So 70 years ago, people asked a really big question, and the promise of that is being realized today, and just in time. So what are the other big, bold questions that are being asked right now? Well, everybody get back on the plane and let's fly back to New Haven, Connecticut. And let's look at 340 Dixwell Avenue, where a number of visionary leaders and people who know how to get it done have asked another one of those questions, which is, what if we could harness the power of forests and trees to give everybody an affordable, beautiful, and healthy place to live? So 340 Dixwell Avenue is the first low to middle income housing project to use mass timber on the East Coast. All right, so let's take a step back in. What is mass timber? Well, it's like wood 3.0 or 4.0. You know, at a place off-site, you're putting together planks and boards and beams, gluing and pressing those together. You're putting them into framing, you're bringing that over to the site, and then you're snapping it together like Lego bricks. Now, this makes for a more affordable and easier process for developing this, but that's not what the visionaries behind this were thinking about. So meet Daryl the developer, Alan the architect, and the merry band of mass timber enthusiasts in New Haven who are behind this. And Daryl talks about the value in this project, which is it doesn't matter what zip code you are from, it doesn't matter what your income status is. What matters is that you have an elegant, beautiful, and affordable place to live. But that is just one benefit of this. When you put wood in a building, you know what you get rid of? Drywall. Drywall is an asthma trigger. You bring wood from the outside in, people have a lovely, gorgeous place to raise their family. And yes, wood stores carbon. It's like a natural, amazing thing that it does, but that is just one of the things that it is doing. The most important, probably, is it is sending out a signal to a broader region saying, we are growing a healthy timber city in New Haven, Connecticut, and we need everybody else to come along with us. We need our neighbors to the north to sustainably harvest their forests. We need individuals to build the secondary processing facilities close to here because there is a need for affordable housing that should be healthy, abundant, and beautiful. All right. So now you're saying, okay, so we have visionaries and local leaders, check, great. We've got local supply chains and workforces that are being developed here, but somebody's got to pay for this. Like, where does the money come from? Well, let's get on the bus and head up 91 and go visit the Connecticut Green Bank, where you've got a group of people who have skilled with numbers, who love spreadsheets, and have the souls of community organizers. Brian Garcia, the president and CEO, is fond of saying, there is no environmentalism without humanitarianism. And he backs that rhetoric up, and they back it up with real investment. The Connecticut Green Bank, since its founding in 2011, the first of its kind in the nation, has invested and created over $3 billion of investment in the state, in solar panels, energy efficiency, batteries. They've inspired a network of green banks from Washington, D.C. to Washington State, from Colorado to Florida to follow their lead. And right now they have their eyes set on a new prize, which is the school bus. So the big question that they're asking is, how do we finance the conversion of diesel school buses to electric? Or better put, how do we turn a school bus into a healthy battery that cleans our air, reduces noise pollution, and can back up the grid in emergencies? Right? So how are they going to do this? Like, well, you know, the demands here are great. If you came to this and you were stuck behind a school bus on the way here, you could taste and smell the pollution that was coming out of that. Particularly acute in urban areas where there are more people and more stops, and the people who have to bear the burden of that are the elderly, the young, and people with respiratory issues. But what are the other benefits of going electric? It's quieter. The kids get a better ride to school. And in a case of emergency, it can use to be back up the grid. All right, so let's review. Right now, solar is spreading across the globe to all communities. You have visionaries, local leaders who are building healthy, affordable housing in New Haven, Connecticut using mass timber. You have bankers, green bankers, who are cleaning our air, reducing noise pollution, and converting diesel school buses to electric. Admittedly, that is a lot to take in a short time period about what is going on, but that isn't even the start of it. There are so many more people out there that you could highlight. You could talk about the Urban Resources Initiative, which we saw before, which has planted 10,000 trees in the city of New Haven. You could talk about Greenwave and the coastal ocean farmers that they are training and developing, 10,000 strong on Long Island Sound. You could talk about ClimateHaven, where they are supporting dozens of early-stage companies that are addressing vital human needs through climate technology. You could talk about the work at Connecticut Innovation's Climate Tech Fund to invest $100 million in this state to create jobs, careers, industries, and solve environmental problems. You could talk about all the work at Yale that is going on to create another Bell Labs where we can ask and answer the biggest questions that are out there. I could talk about all these things, but I want to figure out what you want to talk about. What are the climate tech issues that make you curious, engaged, that hold your attention? What are the human faces you see? What are the vital human needs that you see being met? And how do you describe that to other people? Now, in 1958, on top of the largest volcano in the world, a group of scientists began measuring the average daily CO2 concentrations in the Earth's atmosphere. And from this historical record, one of the greatest discoveries of the 20th century, they gave society, they gave our planet the opportunity to course correct and change where we were going. They gave us a signal and a warning, and they told us to take it and be able to move forward. Now, Charles David Keeling and the team that did that didn't come down from that volcano and say, go speak the language of CO2 and parts per million and methane to people. They didn't want to take people back to a science class that they'd rather forget. They wanted us to speak in human terms about human needs, about the human problems that need to be solved. So what I ask of all of you today is find and identify a story of progress and hope. Make it tangible, local, and real. Amplify, in particular, the experience of the local innovators who are working with technology to create inclusive progress. You got to think like a scientist. You got to act like an entrepreneur. And please, with one of the greatest issues of our time, talk to humans like other humans about the topic. Thank you.